The type of woman that is going to go very far in life and not have to deal with a ton of bullshit when it comes to men are the very same women that are going to cut off a man at the very first red flag and at the very first sign of disrespect.
And I get a text from her, hey, your interest is not high enough for me. Take care, blah, 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 whatever. Cool. It's like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So pretty much this is her cutting me off saying, hey, listen, your interest is not high enough. I'm going on this vacation. Deuces. Now, I think that's perfectly fine. I think that if you want a man that is going to be reactive and always remember everything, now your expectations is that if you're like this within the first 24 hours of knowing me, because, you know, you don't mean anything to me yet, we don't even know each other, that I'm going to be that man in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of marriage. Which is insane to me, because she didn't say that, but that's what I peeped by dating so much women. Ladies, I'm going to be quite honest with y'all. A guy don't owe you shit, and to my dudes, a woman doesn't owe you shit, right? But here's the thing, I only date women, I only see it from this end. I don't know if guys have the same flakiness, which they probably do, but damn.
This gentleman makes a video and he's saying, hey, I want you all the way in. So essentially he matches with this girl on Hinge and they exchange numbers right away. They have a conversation. The first 24 hours, they have each other's number. And during that conversation, she tells him that the day after next, she is going to be leaving for a vacation. So the next day, she wants to schedule like a FaceTime with him at 7 o'clock that night. He agrees to this. The next day comes, he texts her in the morning, and then he falls off of texting her because he says that he has to work. He had to help his friend moving. And I guess throughout his whole entire day, he ended up flaking on her. And I guess he didn't realize that they had this meeting to meet until like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock that night. And mind you, the meeting was scheduled for 7 o'clock that night. He thought to text her and kind of explain everything to her and apologize, but for whatever reason, he thought that that was going to be a bad idea. So he wakes up the next day to a text message from that girl, pretty much saying, listen, your interest is not high enough for me. Best of luck to you. Deuces.
The speed that she wants me to be on her skin is insane. And to be quite honest with you, for the people that are watching, I probably will sit there and say, but you could have still sent that text saying, hey, I'm super busy with my day. Sorry, I won't be able to talk to you today. Have a safe trip, right? I know that later on that night, and I'm like, damn, it was like maybe 11. It was pretty late by the time I like really.
Nigga, you mean she wants you to communicate the fact that you forgot or the fact that you are not going to be able to make the meeting that you agreed to? Okay, let's make that very clear. You agreed to talk to her the next day at 7 p.m. You agreed to that. No one twisted your arm. No one forced you to make that decision. You agreed to do that. And so you mean to tell me that it's too high of an expectation for you to communicate that you are no longer going to be able to do something? These are nothing but shit tests, okay? These are nothing but shit tests because he says at the very, very end of the video, he says something that is going to blow your mind.
At the end of the day, if this is how she's going to act within the first 24 hours of just texting her, I could just only imagine how mad she would be when we actually start dating and talking with each other, when her expectations and obligations might be at its highest and the most extreme. And understand, ladies, your obligations and expectations doesn't mean it's always right because you have to compromise with some of this stuff. We have our own lives. We have our own expectations because men, just like you have it, men have expectations and obligations and we're supposed to meet them.
Because at the end of the day, you want a woman to chase after you. That's what this looks like. You actually had the thought in your head of, you know what? I'm actually not able to fulfill this meeting that I had agreed to. You actually thought to communicate that to her. You wanted to do a shit test to see if she was going to chase you or not. That's all this is. I am going to disrespect her and see how she chases me after I disrespect her. She's smart because within 24 hours, she already knew that he was a piece of shit. Then he goes on to say, well, you know, if she's acting this way already, well, then I don't know how it's going to go. She's not acting. She's fucking reacting. She's reacting to the shit that you did. She's reacting to the fact that you agreed to have a meeting with her at 7 o'clock and her time is precious and she literally planned her day out to be able to make you a part of her day and you cannot reciprocate that. You cannot do the same. She is not fucking acting. I am so tired of men having their mind that autopilot. When it comes to autopilot on what women should accept, it should be disrespect. That's pretty much what you're saying. You're literally sitting here saying that she should accept the fact that you're disrespecting her by not respecting her time. Not respecting and holding up your end of the deal and your bargain of the deal. And even though if you couldn't do that, the least you could have done was do your due diligence to communicate that you are no longer going to be able to be at the meeting because just like you said that you have a life, she has a fucking life too. She has a fucking life too. And there is somebody else that she very well could have made plans with at 7 o'clock to hang out with instead of creating space for you, a complete stranger, just for you to flake out. This is nothing but shit test. This is why it is so important when a man, the earlier the man shows you that he is full of shit and he is not going to communicate properly with you, and he is showing you that he is not going to make you a part of his life in even a small way. Because the thing about it is that you didn't even have to fucking get dressed and go in your car and actually transport yourself to a date. All you had to do was carve out 20 goddamn minutes of your time and put your goddamn phone up and be available. That's literally all you had to do. So God forbid if this is actually a date, okay, this is actually something that somebody had to transport to and prepare and carve out more time for. If you would flake out on that, if you would flake out, then you would flake out on a date too. If you're gonna flake out on a fucking 20-minute FaceTime session, I mean, come on. And men like this don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. They don't see anything wrong with what they're doing, because at the end of the day, they are always going to keep this method of doing these shit tests with women until they find a pygmisha that is going to chase after them. And that is going to text them at 701, 702, 703. Where are you? Where are you? I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you. No. Women that have high self-esteem, women that understand what respect is and what honor actually is, are not going to put up with this bullshit. This is why a lot of men are forced to settle, because the woman that you really want, the woman that you would actually want to be with, is not going to put up with this shit. And then the fact that you simply communicating is in his mind being told to him that women's expectations are too high. No, because at the end of the day, if this were a job, you would be communicating to your place of employment, hey, I'm not going to be able to make the 7 o'clock meeting. And if you cared a lot about that job, you would make some shit shake to be able to go to that meeting. So at the end of the day, you just simply didn't care, and you're mad at how it panned out based off of her reaction, because you thought that you got you somebody that was stupid and weak and had no boundaries, and she was just going to let it fly. No, she has a life too. She literally is leaving for a vacation the day after next. She was going to drop you like a hot potato because she has something to look forward to.